Hello, everyone. It's your host, Little Cindy, aka Giggles. Happy Sunday. So glad that you guys are all tuning in, or maybe watch later, whoever watches. But I thank you for following and watching my shows with all my amazing co-hosts and my amazing host, which I'm going to bring out now. Hello, Donna.
Hello. How you doing?
How you doing, my darling?
Oh, tired, but I'm here.
I know it's been a crazy week.
It has.
Hasn't it?
It's been crazy busy.
Yeah. But we're getting closer. I'm counting down the days to when we get to Kentucky. And we finally get to meet.
Yes, I can't wait. Me either. I can't wait. We're going to have so much fun. And we won't get into too much trouble, I think, maybe.
Well, we got to get in some trouble.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be fun if we didn't. And we're going to be in the woods.
I know, right? Exactly. No, I just picture myself like getting there at the house that we're staying in, and seeing you guys like coming outside to greet us. That's what I'm picturing, like in my head. And I see you, and I drop my stuff, and I go and run, and then I run.
Finally, at last, yes. I can't wait to just be together and sit by the fire and just have, oh my gosh, tell ghost stories and have a good time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's bring out our lovely co-hosts of our show here. We've got the wonderful Marcus and the amazing Rachel. Hello, guys.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Everybody.
Hey.
How you doing, Rachel?
Hey, wild and wonderful as usual.
I see you have one of your new shirts on. Want to show it off?
I do.
Oh,
yeah,
I love
it. That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love them.
I'm glad you all one for whenever we meet up in Kentucky.
Thank
I've
you.
also got more. If anybody else wants one, just message me.
Oh, I definitely want the newer ones too. I love those. I love how you mixed all the colors. Oh my gosh. It's just it.
Yeah,
when you that, I was like, oh, I want one.
Yes, I love them.
The 80s theme. I think they turned out pretty awesome.
Yes.
It's totally. We need to like neon. Remember the neon bracelets, the rubber bracelets? I'm going to try to find some. I should bring some, and we can do an 80 themes party while we're there.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That will be badass.
Brian Sawyer actually, when he came, he has the bracelets. So like the little rubber bracelets, he makes those with his logos on them. I was like,
really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. So Donna, you have, you asked if we can bring on these gentlemen. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about these gentlemen, and just amazing stuff. And you talk very highly about them. So I'm very anxious and excited to actually have some talking and discussions with these guys. Would you like to introduce our guests?
Absolutely. I love these guys. They are totally amazing, very knowledgeable. They're the real deal. I'm telling you, these guys, they're out there. They've been doing this for so many years. And, they're like adventurers. They're in the woods and they do all this amazing stuff for other people. And so, Eric is who I've been like about 2 years, and he has been such an inspiration to me. He has absolutely just been there to, encouraged me from the beginning because, I started this and it wasn't something I had no idea what I'm doing, but he would just be always that little voice of praise or say like, go on, you're doing good. Just, at that minute when you needed that person to say something, he was there. So I thoroughly respect both of them. So now I'm going to read my little thing here. Okay. Well, if my phone would not go off. The Coven of Curiosities proudly welcome two extraordinary men who pour their lives, skills, and hearts into their community. Tim and Eric Vogel are more than outdoorsmen. They are teachers, protectors, investigators, and lifelong stewards of the wild places that shape us. With over 50 combined years in the outdoor adventure industry, the Vogel brothers have trained generations of explorers. Through their 20 years leadership in Tekoa, I hope I said that right, Mountain Outdoors, their work has guided wilderness first responders, professional outdoor leaders, recreational adventurers, and families who simply want to learn how to walk the land with respect. And their path didn't end with the trailcraft. Since 2010, Tim and Eric have served as Bigfoot and mountain lion investigators in the Northeastern United States, focusing on the deep whispering forest of western Massachusetts. They're following tracks, documented sightings, interviewed witnesses, and stepped into the quiet places where the woods hold their breath. Their research blends skills, intuition, and a deep understanding of the land, the kind only earned through decades of lived experience. And still, their greatest work is what they give back. Through their Let's Talk Bigfoot presentation series, the Vogel Brothers raise funds to support youth outdoor education programs or FX Help, send kids to camp, provide trees for school children on Arbor Day, teach watershed safety outdoor ethics, support community projects, create hands-on learning materials for local youth. Every story they share, every mile they hike, every presentation, it all circles back to strengthening their community and nurturing the next generation of outdoor stewards. Today, the Coven of Curiosities opens its circle to honor two men who carry knowledge, humility, and service in equal measures. The Vogel brothers remind us that the wild still has lessons to teach, and that those who listen closely can help others learn to hear it too. And we welcome you, the Vogel brothers.
Yes. Hello, Vogel brothers.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Yes.
very much. That was a heck of an introduction. Appreciate that.
You deserve it. You guys are great.
Excellent.
I appreciate it.
Yes. Well, it's important to me to make sure that every guest that I have on or that we have on feels special. And we do put the time and effort to getting to know our guests before the guest kind of comes on. I mean, we still have questions. Don't get me wrong. But
That's good. We like questions.
I've got some. I definitely have some. I'm sure the others do too. So actually, I'll start it off. So for you guys to be doing this for a long time, 50 some years, you guys started when you were pretty young then. Can you tell us what got you started?
We didn't really start investigating until 2013. That's after our first major experience. Our first encounter, not our first encounter, but our first experience was in 1976 with a 1.9. And we were teenagers, and we had a local experience back then. It was Sasquatch, the Legend of Bigfoot came out, and everybody, went out and saw that movie, and we were kids, and we did the same.
Yeah.
Long story short, there was a hoax that took place, but we didn't know about it till the end. And so anyway, somebody had walked the path and came through our yard, crossed the river, had a big to-do. And so that was the first big thing,
Yeah, if you actually go in and Google Agawam, Massachusetts, Robinson State Park, Bigfoot sighting, it will actually pop up.
Yeah, it's in one of those. Sure, it's one of these.
So it was there.
I think.
Yeah, it wasn't an East Coast thing back then when we were kids. It was always out west, so it was no big deal to us.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Patty comes out in 67.
Yeah, that was our
This
first
is 76.
Yeah.
So it's barely 10 years, and we even as kids we were scouts and lived in the woods, and we just never heard of this thing called Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Just never did. It just was, ooh, what's this thing you're talking about? So we went and saw the movie. And that was kind of even the movie didn't show much of Bigfoot. If you ever seen the movie, it was kind of, what the heck? We walked all the way out here and it was like not much. So anyways, it was fun. We learned a little something. And then a few weeks later, there's Bigfoot tracks in our backyard, and the news people, the police, and the whole whatnot. And there's investigations.
Investigators in California, one from New York. Oh yeah, it was a big.
Wow.
So some adult saw the tracks, and they were off in the woods and crossed railroad tracks, went up a river. So it was kind of remote, but not really. It was,
And this was in the winter.
Oh,
This was in the winter.
Yeah.
And he did it right after a fresh snow, and he was
Yeah.
deep down in that snow with a 22-inch track. Yeah, he traveled some distance. It was funny.
Yeah, but it ended up
So
being
it
a
was
hoax.
22 inches long for the track.
Yeah, it was a plywood cutout.
Yep, that's what it ended up being, a plywood cutout.
Oh, wow.
But that's and we were just kids at the time, so.
Oh my God.
So that was kind of our first introduction to Bigfoot or anything like that. But you kind of fast forward from there, life happens, and in 2013, we're running a guide business called Tekoa Mountain Outdoors.
And you did say it right.
Yeah. And it's named after a local mountain here in Russell, Mass. So anyways, we're guiding almost 15, working on 20 years ish. And we had been going up into the Adirondacks, and this happened to be in 2013. And we were guiding our typical summer trips, which is, take scouts up in the Adirondacks for a week, do a 50-mile or 100-mile paddle portage, hike, backpack, climb.
Yeah, you'd bounce from one pond to the next pond and go camping in different places. We've done it for over 10 years in the same area up in the Saranac Floodwood region. So we knew the area very well.
Yeah, we had been doing it for a long time. And we had to get licensed as New York State guides to go out there and, actually run a legit business. So it was a legit business. We did it for many years. And so one day we're deciding where we're going on vacation. And we wanted to go up into this remote little pond that no one really goes to. And it's very difficult because you need high water to get there because of the mucky portage to get to it. It's not too enticing, or it's not that big of a place, so a lot of people don't go. So we ended up we looked at when we wanted to go and why we wanted to go there. So we wanted to go in September when everybody was back at work and in school.
Yeah, all of the vacationers were gone. School was back.
And it wasn't going to be on a weekend, so it was a midweek trip.
So we knew after 10 years of being in the same place, we knew that if we went when everybody else was gone, we should have it empty.
Yeah, the trailheads were empty. All the parking spots were empty.
And it was empty, or at least it was supposed to be.
Yeah, no one was going to go where we were.
It was back in the day where we didn't even have cell phones.
Oh yeah, we didn't even have a cell phone. No, we didn't have a computer, nothing.
yeah, we didn't have anything. We were back then, so.
Yeah. So anyways, we decided we're going up to the Adirondacks and we're going to go to Pink Pond, and we take the roundabout way to get into a little place called Long Pond. We set up camp, and we get into the camp area. We put up, into the campsite area, and it's debris is all over the place. Right. There's trees all covered in and trashed in. Looks like maybe the rangers or somebody had trashed the place intentionally to keep people out. That's how bad it was.
But normally you go to any one of these campsites and they are pristine. It's almost like, him and I are camping in a site, we leave, and when you show up, it's like no one's ever been there. Yeah. That's how clean they are. And this had sticks and logs and stuff pulled into it, like it was trying to be hidden.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense.
As ridge runners for the Appalachian Mountain Club years ago, we used to brush in trails in this same fashion. If you had a bootleg trail that you wanted hidden, you'd brush it in. You'd make it look like part of the side of the trail, and no one would see it.
Well, no one knows the difference. They just keep going down.
This was incredibly, there was a work to do what they did. Yeah. And so anyways, this was a really trash game.
And it was the only one on that side, and that's where we wanted to be. Yeah. That way there we knew we were away from everybody else.
And so we get in there and we decided, it's getting late. We're going to make camp anyway and have dinner. And we go up and we're going to make dinner. And we set up camp, and then we're going to go off in the canoe, and we go off and we're starting to fish, and he's fishing. And it's literally like a fish story. It's, one cat.
I tell you, if you're a fisherman or a fly fisherman and you're out there and you're paddling out, and all of a sudden you start catching fish, all I told him to do was paddle. I said, just keep paddling. Just keep paddling. I was catching bass left and right. It was crazy. like you said, it was a fish story after a while, and I said, just keep paddling.
Yeah, we went out for dinner and just fished. And it was just one of those stories.
It was crazy.
But we turned into this creek that it was the confluence. It's the outflow from Pink Pond, and it's the confluence as we're going into it. So it's a small little braided stream, and it's really tight.
Very tight.
It's probably 15, 20 feet wide, the creek, but it's got all this stuff in the middle.
All the brush and everything else is kind of
so it's very difficult to get up and get in there and navigate and paddle. Especially
well, we were going in, and I said, "No, I'm not going in there." He goes, "Come on, I want to see what's on the other side." So we look like a cartoon. I'm paddling one way, he's paddling the other. And we spin that canoe around, and he moves his way in. I did with no legs like that in there. I'm glad the boat was 18 feet. I got on the other end, and he gets through there, and he said, "Pass me the fly rod. I'm gonna throw it up over the beaver dam."
Stopped at a beaver dam.
Right, we're at the beaver dam. So he says, hand me the fly rod. So I said, all right. So I give him the fly rod. He turns around, he throws it up over the beaver dam. It couldn't have been 15, 20 seconds later. He goes, I got one. And he pulls it up. Yeah, he got one. All right.
Yeah, that thing.
All hell broke loose in about a nanosecond.
Really? What happened?
Out of the water. It was the similar 2-3 pounder. Little Smalley came out of the water and, was dancing around, and all of a sudden these two trees on the shoreline start shaking like they're in a snow globe.
Yes.
Almost simultaneously, two trees start shaking out of the whole forest.
Yeah.
Literally like they're in a snow globe. It was very, very surreal.
And you got to remember, we're guides in New York, and we've been in this area for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All spring, summer, fall, we've been through this whole place, and now we've got two trees that are just going berserk.
It was weird. I mean, it was true trees out of a forest that were shaking, incredibly crazy.
Very.
So then
that wasn't the only thing that happened.
Right. Then it's roaring coming from this area, and it's not just it's screaming, hollering, whistling. It's a bunch of different noise all at the same time. And that's kind of what we're hearing, and you can't really determine what it is.
It made no sense.
Yeah, there's no file to pull from. That's this.
People ask us that all the time, and we got to ask that last night at one of the libraries we did. And all I can say was, you take all of the big animals in the zoo and put them together, and it still wasn't making the sound.
Yeah,
really.
It was the wildest thing we've ever heard.
Yeah, we've never heard it before, but to kind of sum it up, it was a roaring, a really aggressive roaring.
It was wild. Whatever it was did not want us there.
Yeah, no, that was clear.
There was no doubt.
Yeah, that was clear. So now
all that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We've got the two trees shaking. It's roaring, and things are coming out at us. We're at the base of this beaver dam, which is, I'm in a canoe, and it's probably head level, the beaver dam. And we're fishing up into it. And now all this stuff is coming either from the shaking trees or people. I'm not going to say people because they weren't shaking trees. No. Something shaking the trees was also throwing stuff at us. It was either rocks or sticks. It didn't actually come physically over the beaver dam. It stayed contained within that top surface, so to speak.
Yeah, it was just close enough to tell us, get out of here.
Oh, yeah. It was wicked aggressive. It was...
The noise was so loud.
Right.
It was so loud and so deep that it was like Tim says, it's like being at a Ted Nugent concert and having the bass bounce off your chest.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you guys. When you heard all that, the growling and the deepness, like, did it radiate your body, like vibrate it?
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yes. It had... I kind of call it had a tonal value to it. As it went up in tone and screaming and hollering, you could feel that in your body. As it went lower or deeper, you could feel that vibration.
You could feel it, kind of change. Yeah.
And we both felt it. And that's the only reason why we left, because
yeah.
it became so aggressively loud that we thought it was coming out in the water after us.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't figure we were going to stand a chance.
No,
Right.
whatever
What was
that
coming
was,
out of the woods, it's like,
whatever
no
that
way.
was, that would have ate
Yeah.
us for sure.
Yeah, we weren't gonna even, and we had no idea. We weren't even thinking Bigfoot.
No,
You know, we didn't even know.
that was
How
the
to
furthest
describe
thing
what
from
we
our
were listening
mind.
to.
Yeah.
We just knew at that point we were going to get the heck out of there, and we did it. We turned around.
And
got out of
we never run from anything. But I'll
No.
tell you what, we couldn't paddle fast enough.
So that's
Okay.
what started it all. Is this that experience now made you more curious and have you guys go out in the woods more looking for it, right?
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely. That's what kicked it off.
Yep.
That's what got us in
Yeah.
really looking into it.
So we
Yeah.
got out of the wood, or actually, so anyways, you go out in the lake, and as soon as we get out far enough, 100 yards or so,
Yeah, about halfway
it
across.
stops.
Yeah.
But it went
Just like
on.
that.
It went on for 10 or 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
The noise never stopped, and the tree shaking never stopped.
Yeah.
So whatever it was never came up for air. It never the vocals never stopped. Never.
Wow.
It was as loud and aggressive for 10 minutes easily,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's
and
no
never
doubt.
came up for air.
It felt like a lifetime, but
Yeah.
yeah, 10 minutes.
And then it stopped. So we're kind of, wow, dude, was that a mountain lion and a bear? What was that? We're trying to rationalize what we heard with the tree shaking and everything.
Yeah, it just
We
made
couldn't do
no
it. There was
sense.
nothing to pull from. So we just kind of shut up and started paddling back and kind of blow it off. And then he says, hey, we're going back. And I says, yeah, I know. we're only a couple 100 yards from where this just happened. Literally, the
Yeah.
campsite.
Same
here,
side.
yeah, a couple 100 yards. There's no, going to the
Yeah.
trailhead and getting in
No,
the truck.
yeah, there was no going on.
No.
So you remember how we started the story and said that, or the encounter, and we said that that campsite was full of trees and everything else?
Yeah.
When we left that morning, it was a pristine campsite.
Yeah, we burnt everything. Yeah.
Wow.
We burnt it all. There was nothing. It was nice and clean when we left.
Yeah, there was a glow coming from Long Lake that night for sure.
Yeah. As soon as that light popped up there in the sky, we were gone.
Yep. So first light we got out of there. The night was really uneventful.
Yeah. We didn't hear anything.
And we didn't talk
didn't want
about it.
But no, we didn't.
We really didn't want to have it jinx it and have it come back.
Yeah, right.
You keep it out of here. Whatever that was, let it stay. Whatever it was doing, and we have no idea at this time that night what we were experiencing.
And you have to remember, we had no cell phones. We had no computer, so we really weren't into the groups or anything like that at the time. We didn't know anything. We didn't even know that this stuff existed until later.
Yeah, and so we get out, and I finally asked him. I says, what do you really believe that was? He's like, dude, I don't know. I'm like, I really think that was a Bigfoot. This is months down the road. And we kind of went back and forth. Now we're not that crazy. We didn't have a Bigfoot. And well, maybe we did, and maybe we didn't. And then I finally says, dude, I'm going to go to the library at South Hadley. Steve Calls was coming to the South Hadley Library to do a talk. Now, it's very similar to what we do now. Yeah. And it's very surreal how that goes around like that. But we hadn't really gone down the rabbit hole. We had an experience. And this was the first step, the real commitment in my mind of saying, yeah, I think Bigfoot's real. So I asked Eric, I said, dude, come on with me. He's like, no, I ain't going.
He won. I didn't even go because I was like, nah, no way.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I was teetering on the edge, but I wasn't ready to go in.
Yeah, it was fun. So I went to the library, talked with Steve. I listened to Steve, and a lot of what he had said, we had happened. And so I put some credence to it and thought, well, you know what? This was probably what happened. Because we're licensed guides, been in the woods all our life. I'm a full-time ranger right now. And I can tell you every single animal it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the one I think it is. What's that?
I bet you there's a lot that it wasn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. The list is too long.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
list is very
The
long.
list is way too long. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of okay. We're really into this Bigfoot realm. And then people started talking. Through that, we realized that Facebook was the answer to asking questions.
We actually had to get a computer and get into Facebook to find out what was going on.
Yeah, we did. Got a phone and all that stuff. Got modernized and yeah. So, anyways, that was kind of our 2013-14, kind of our stepping stone into it, learning from different groups. And different people.
When we did get when we finally did get a computer and we started looking and reading on other people's encounters and stuff, that's when we kept saying to ourselves, well, maybe, just maybe. That's when I started to teeter over the edge there. And I was looking down into the rabbit hole and I said, well, maybe it was. So then we decided to go back about a year later, a year and a half later, to go investigate it. We said, okay, let's go back and see if we can find it again. And sure enough, we found it. We get in there and we had to literally bushwhack our way into Pink Pond. Yeah. So a normal person's just not going to go through there because when you finally get to an opening,
too much effort.
Oh yeah, it's just not worth it.
Without a path or a paddle, it's a boreal forest, and you're not walking through it on purpose.
You're not.
You're just not.
I mean, at 4:00 in the afternoon, you got a headlamp on when you hit shore.
It's just too thick.
Wow.
So we actually bushwhacked in, found the 2 trees. There were no scratch marks on those trees whatsoever.
Huh.
They were 10 inches in diameter, and they were about 9 feet apart. Yeah. And they were shaking like there was nothing to them. It was like they were twigs.
So after we've gone back and done our inspection, looked at the place and all that, we kind of believe what we did in patterning our vacation spot, being quiet and alone, fishing and all that, and this was going to be the area that we might do the best at. I believe now that I believe there were Bigfoot in there, multiple Bigfoot, and that's why, number one, the noise never stopped. There had to be something in there that continued the noise.
Otherwise, it's got the biggest lungs in the world.
It was insane. I mean, well, maybe, I don't know, but that noise never stopped nonetheless. Yep. So we believe there were multiple Bigfoot, and we also believe they were in there fishing. They may have started way at the head, not maybe the headwaters, but way up the creek, and walked this 4-foot wide creek. And I mean, we're going to get into a story where he saw a Bigfoot at, almost 8-9 feet and 4 feet wide. So if you can imagine 1 or 2 of them, maybe even a little one.
I mean, have you ever seen the mold of a hand of a Bigfoot? It's about the size of a first baseman's mitt. Yeah. They're huge.
So then you put all those body parts in the water and you start pushing down the creek towards the dam as a trap. In that regard, you're walking down the stream, pushing the fish towards that trap.
Right, and it wasn't a huge dam. It was a small dam, and it was just deep enough.
Yeah. Not even waist deep for us. And I imagine if they push fish down in there, they would just throw the fish out.
If they
maybe get them.
Yeah, if they keep those together.
So we believe they were fishing, and that was going to be their method, and that's why we were there, and that's why they were there. They didn't mind us fishing. Right.
They said, "Hey, look at this entertainment," and they're watching.
Hey, check it out.
Look at those weird human being things.
We turned around and we went in and we took their fish that they've been pushing into this place. They did not like it.
It's like, get out. Get out of my honey hole. This is mine. Get out.
My honey hole.
That's exactly right. There was no doubt, and we couldn't understand a thing they said, but there was no doubt in what they said, and that was get out.
Yep.
So what were the noises that were? Is it the gibberish, or was it more growling?
Growling, roaring. There was no real vocalization like a spirit sound or something.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. But
it was whatever it was
get the hell out.
Yeah. There was no doubt about it. It was deep, it was loud, it never stopped. It wasn't making word sounds, it was just letting you know that it was loud.
Yeah, it was very, very.
And it didn't want us there. They didn't care what we did out there, but as soon as we went into that little honey hole, that was it. They said, "No, we're not having it." So that's what really kicked us off. That's what got us started.
Yeah, because we couldn't explain that away, and we've been guiding there for numerous years. We've been doing it for our entire adult life. And that was a situation where we couldn't simply just explain it away. And after that, we wanted to learn more, and hence going to Steve Cull's library talk, and then getting involved with, online groups and stuff like that, and learning a little more. We joined a group and ended up going out to Ohio.
Cindy, Donna, you went out to Ohio, didn't you?
I didn't get to go. We had I had a situation. I've been dealing with some missing people, so I wanted to go yesterday, and it just became a little more important to help with trying to find this lady. So, which hasn't been well so far. I'm really worried about it. So but
you'll work it out.
Yeah, but on their screen, it goes on. It's like a train whistle, is what I think, because it goes on and on and on. It's like they never. The vibrations from the big loud, like the get out now. Those are a lot different than them just playing around and doing.
Right. Oh yeah. They weren't playing.
No, one of our trips in Savoy, and one of our other spots that we go to, we believe we have casts that we believe were made by a juvenile, and there was maybe even up to a half a dozen of them, because they were taps and rocks being thrown and whistles from maybe a half a dozen different areas throughout the woods, and we believe they were communicating to each other, about us.
Oh yeah,
as we were going up the hill.
And you could tell that they were playing with you, It was like a game to them, like we were the mice in the little maze thing,
As get the acorns, they throw the little acorns and just silly little thing. It's like kids playing, really. It's not aggressive. It's just kind of.
We ended up getting 2 casts.
One of them is here. You'll see the broken toes on the broken toes in here.
Yeah.
This is
one goes east, one goes west.
This is
I have one like that. I have one that is really deep, and he only has 4 toes, and they're like because I cast it. It was in the sand, so I actually got a deep one, and it's like this. It's like they come down. The toes are like he's down to 3 now, but they're wild looking.
And they're 2 different sizes, so that means that there are 2 different juveniles going across.
That's what I got. I got 2 different sizes. They were catching like the little turtles that's hatched, and there's big crawdads in there and minnows, and there was berries on the bank above it, but they were catching those. And one foot was out, one's in the water, and the other one was out on the bank, and it just sunk down in that sand and muck. Wow. So I got a good cast off of it.
That's awesome. That's great.
So Eric and Tim, as you guys probably know, Trisha is now part of Coven of Curiosities from Monsters Unleashed, and she says, "Hello, Tim and Eric. Good to see you all." So hello. She's not on right now, obviously, because she's out in the field. Really, I told her, like, if you need to go out to the field, don't worry about the show. Go out, do your thing, because I feel that's important. And she said they already caught something. They had a sighting. So I can't wait to hear what she thought. But anyway, I was curious because I went onto your website to check it out and everything. And I want to share this because I have a thought of what it might be, but I want to see if I'm right. So can we play the guessing game?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So this print I find very intriguing. It's very interesting because it looks like it's 3 toes in sand, obviously. Is that a dog man or is that a lizard man?
That is a deer.
Oh,
That is a deer track.
oh, that tells you how much I know.
That is, yeah. I happen to be a ranger on a 1,300 acre property. This one here happened to come out near a quarry, not a quarry,
Yeah.
a gravel bar that we have. We had done the Tekoa Mountain Critter Festival.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the folks that came, Ernie Davio, the Banterwood Richie, Wojo, all those guys came out.
Yeah.
The New Hampshire guys, and they went up and did some squatching in the backyard. And I call it the backyard, it's the camp. And some of those were the tracks that they had found, were the deer tracks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
nothing that
Now,
menacing.
if you go back up a little bit to where
Yeah.
it said Cobble Mountain,
Yes.
a little more right there, right
Yeah.
there in that area right there.
Yeah.
That is the area that we do a lot of our. That's the property that abuts the property that Tim runs for the camp.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Cobble Mountain
okay.
watershed is in the
Okay.
reservoir, and you can't really do any recreation on it. So our property.
So there's thousands of acres that are just untouched woods.
I love it because so much. Well, I mean, we have a lot of woods that haven't been that have not been touched, but it's sad that we've touched so much. You know what I mean? Because there's so much wildlife out there that has been destroyed
Oh yeah.
because of us tearing down trees to build. You know what I mean? So
Well, everybody looks at Massachusetts like it's Boston, and it's really not. Once you get on the Western Mass end of things, it's mostly woodlands with spotted farms and little country
Right.
towns is all it is. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can go for hours this a direct south out of here, I'll cross a couple power lines and
Yeah.
a fire road or two before I actually hit a road. So, and then it's
Wow.
just thousands of acres of state forest, and there's more of that and more. So it's a greenway, literally from here into Connecticut, into New York, from Western
Right.
Mass. There's tons of area where, the habitat is definitely conducive for cats or a Bigfoot or any of that. And we've got a huge history. Our first sighting goes back to 1765 in Great Barrington.
The first legitimate written.
Where they
report.
wrote about it.
No, I think it's awesome. And I really like how too you guys are part of this the Critter Project, and how you guys take or you have you got some casting going on here. But how you work with people and help them learn to pretty much learn to track, right? And to camp or use proper things to be out in the woods, because a lot of people just go out there and they don't really know what they're doing.
There's a lot of that.
Every one of us right here, right now, have been out in the woods. Have you not?
I have, yeah.
Everybody on the panel. You've been out during the day, and you've been out there at night. How many of you take the 10 essentials with you? How many of you carry a pack with enough stuff in case something were to happen, even if it's in your own hometown?
Yeah.
First aid kit.
Yep.
Stuff like that, stuff we often take for granted because it's just a quick jaunt down the hill and we've been there 100 times and nothing will happen until you hit a rock, then you hit your head and then you're bleeding profusely. And then all of a sudden, what do? And you're bleeding out and your buddy doesn't know what to do.
Or you get that one at nighttime
no
that
reception.
decides it's going to run through the woods. And what happens when you run through the woods?
Break your leg, something like that.
Sticks in the face. You have to be
Then
prepared
you
for
become
everything.
bait. And no one wants to be bait.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Remember, you can always make it out as long as you beat the slowest person.
There you go.
I have a theory on that now. You know what my theory is? I can beat the person that I take out their leg.
That's it. You
Oh,
got to do
my
what you got to do sometimes.
Rachel, do you have any questions for the Vogel brothers?
Yeah, I've always been curious about the mind speak thing. Have you guys ever got a chance to mind speak with him?
I believe that day they were roaring at us. That was mind speak. It was saying, "Get out now." And we didn't really understand that, but we could feel it. And there was a
Are you
presence that
talking
said,
about
"Leave." But I've never had it.
Are you talking? Do you mean what he's just saying, or are you being in an area and not having anything being said, but kind of telepathic thinking? Is that what you're talking about?
Telepathic messages
Right.
back and forth.
No, I can't say that I personally haven't have. Although when I saw it, it didn't speak to me, but I knew what the hell I was looking at.
Yeah, whenever they want you out of there.
Yeah.
You know,
We did do we were on an expedition in 15 or 16. I don't know, maybe it was 18, but it was maybe it was 18. It was we had infrasound, which is probably similar to what you're on the same vein. It's similar. And what that was we were literally with 5 people in a group, 5 people in a group. And I'm on a dirt road, my elbows on the ground, my butts. I'm laying down on the road, and my butts. I'm laying down on the road. We're having a conversation. 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's dark as hell, and it's steep. It's like almost a cliff up, and then there's a fire road, and then it goes down to a waterfall.
Yeah.
So it's a really steep area.
very steep.
And all of a sudden, it's been a pretty quiet night, and all of a sudden it sounded like a boulder rolling down the hill.
It did.
Towards us. And I literally, we all had a physical reaction to the sound we were hearing. And I couldn't get up off the ground fast enough. My feet were stretching out like a cartoon.
You literally thought that there was a rock coming.
Not just a rock, a boulder
coming
down the hill.
And it was coming right at us,
and we couldn't get out of the way fast enough. And then all of a sudden,
it just stopped. It just stopped.
Just stopped. And then
they definitely were warning you guys. That's for sure.
Something was
happening. So we sat there and we talked about it, and nothing else happened. We were with a number of other people that were stationed up the road and on the mountain. And Kevin Romero, one of our other fellow researchers who's passed now, he had recorded it through his parabolic mic. So he's got some of this on his recorder. And he was only probably 100 yards from us. So he certainly has it, or had it. But maybe Spinner's got it now. But anyways, there's a half a dozen people in this area that have heard something now. And so we sit down and he's got his back. Eric's got his back to a guardrail, it prevents you from going over the cliff. That's how steep the area is, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, it's only a single lane dirt road.
Yeah, and at this guardrail, you're looking at a waterfall. So it's a scenic spot. There's a guardrail there to prevent you from walking over the edge. And Eric literally has his back to that. And we're sitting on this corner. And that's where this is happening. So the thing comes rolling down the hill. It stops. We go on. We carry on with our conversation. And all of a sudden, this rock, which was it sounded very large. It sounded like a large rock landing right behind Eric in the side of the cliff, and just went thud.
Yeah, you
right behind him.
Yeah, it sounded like it was a massive rock.
Yeah,
that's what it sounded
like. A big rock,
a boulder.
Big rock. That's what it sounded like. So it whacks the ground and it makes a ginormous thud. 5 people again have a physical reaction to what just happened. We all get up. Holy crap! What's that?
Turn the lights on.
That was a moment where we actually turn on the lights because we don't generally. And we're looking and looking and looking. And there was no rock, no logs, no nothing there.
If something hit the side of that thing, and I'm talking, we're on an angle. If anything hit it, it would have stopped. It would have gotten stuck right in the side of the in the side of the mountain.
That's what the volume said.
There was nothing. It didn't roll down the hill.
The grass wasn't bent. Nothing that indicated anything hit the side of the hill and roll. And there was no sound to verify it either. So
it was crazy.
So maybe not in a communication sense, but certainly in an infrasound
through that way. Yes, we had it that way.
We had,
but not that telepathic. No.
Yeah, unless that roaring was like, "Hey, get the hell out." And
it didn't take much.
Yeah, that was clear.
Marcus, do you have any questions?
I don't. I'm just listening. I'm new to the cryptid world stuff, so I'm just trying to get as much stories in as I can, from different people, and then kind of, start having my own opinions on things. But I'm just listening. I'm enjoying it.
No, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I don't mind your paranormal side, but I try to stay away from that.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring nothing home with me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We don't either. We have proper methods to make sure that nothing attaches to us. But,
Yeah.
I had
We can go to a place.
I'm still more like on the skeptical side because I'm a very scientific guy, so I have to prove everything or try to at least, before I can determine that it was something I can't understand or
No, that's a good place to be actually. Not everything is a Bigfoot, and it shouldn't start at it's a Bigfoot.
Right.
Yeah.
I can say that I was a true skeptic until I saw it.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't a skeptic anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was there. I saw it was 40 yards, and when I saw it, it was there, and I went, "Holy crap! It's actually there." So
no, yeah. So I'm a big woods guy, and I love the forest. I'm a huge fly fisherman. I lived in Colorado for a couple of years, and I was in Gunnison, and the population was only like 5,000. I never had an experience though, like running into a Bigfoot or anything. But I mean, I was out on the river every day, So, but unless if it was winter. But I mean, I'd go ice fishing, I'd do all that. But unfortunately, I've never ran into something like that, so I've never got to experience it. But, me and Cindy were in talks of moving to Arkansas. So we'll be more out in the Ozark area, and then,
that's cool.
Then we'll be able to really, go out and investigate and see if we can find our own, research or evidence, and everything like that. But,
And then we have a trip planned. Well, we're in talks with Donna about going out and seeing her in Ohio, she's going to show us around and everything. So I am excited for that. But we're actually going to Kentucky at the end of the month here in May, and we've got a cabin type house that we're going to be staying at. We're going to go to that Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival,
gorgeous.
and it's our first festival.
Yeah.
And I started really getting into cryptids last year. And I just found it so interesting. And the more and more people that I've had on my podcast and the more people that I communicate with and hearing their experiences. And I can tell you can really tell when someone's lying about something. But when someone is explaining their experience and how much it has affected them, like when you guys are explaining, you can tell you're telling the honest truth. Now, it's frustrating because out in the world, even for paranormal community, for us, people lie. And it's so frustrating. Like, why would you want to do that? Or fake a paranormal? It's like, come on, y'all. Like, just stop. This stuff is real, and people get traumatized by some of their experiences. Some experiences are not that good. So why are you faking this and making it harder for people that experience it they just want to stay quiet because they don't want people looking at them like they're crazy. Yeah. And it frustrates, as you can tell, I get passionate about it. It frustrates me.
That's all right. That's a good thing. Yeah. That's why Tim and I do the library talks.
Oh, okay. See, and I love that you guys do that. Because you're letting the community come together, and those that are comfortable to share, like everybody should be able to feel comfortable to talk about what they saw, what they heard. I've never seen, nor have I physically been there and heard, but I've been on the phone with someone and hearing that stuff. And I'm telling you what, just being on the other end of a cell phone and hearing it in the background gave me goosebumps and it made me like, oh my God, because it was a deep freaking growl and it was loud. And I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because I'm talking to my friend. I'm worried about him. But it's actually Jerry Millwood Jr. from North Carolina Investigates. I was on the phone with him. Oh, you don't know familiar with him?
I don't know who he is,
but he lives on his backyard is literally the Appalachian Mountains, the foothills.
All right.
Yeah. So he gets a lot of activity back there. But I was on the phone with him one time. He's like, do you hear this? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. So I haven't been there physically. I haven't seen one physically, but just to even hear it, I was just like, now I'm just like dying to see one. I'm just anxious to see it.
All I can say is expect it when you least expect it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
They'll let you know.
Yeah.
They'll let you see them when they want you to see them.
Yep.
You know, it's,
Exactly.
it's the way
I
it is.
believe they're either going to do it because they want you to, or it was done by just
Pure accident.
pure accident.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
time they thought they weren't going to be seen, and they were.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I
It's
think I
like-
saw mine.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
it's really I think there were 3, and we caught the middle one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you guys, when you go out there, what types of equipment do you use? Any FLIRs or what's that light? I'm having a brain fart. Sorry.
Night vision type camera.
Night vision. Like what kind of
Simple night
equipment?
vision kind of stuff.
We use a recorder.
Okay.
We don't have anything fancy. It's just a recorder. When it decides it's going to work. When we went over to the juveniles and we got those prints, I had put in brand new batteries. Check the date on the batteries and everything. Put them in. Him and I go back out. We went back. We were out for about 45 minutes going up the trail. And we came back because the taps got a little bit louder and the stuff that was getting thrown at us came a little bit closer. So we said, okay, we're going to go back out. And we went out and we were sitting there and I turned on the recorder. Nothing. Dead.
Batteries dead.
And the batteries, I tested them before we left the truck.
It's
And we went out there and
routine,
came back and there was nothing.
So that's where the paranormal ends. This stuff kind of weird.
You know,
You
can
hear
they,
it all the time? It actually happened.
yeah, it actually happened to us. And we were like, what? So,
So
yeah.
let me
like-
ask you guys this, because I
But we
ask
do
all my
take 'em.
guests. So do
Right.
you think Bigfoot or cryptids, period, and paranormal have a connection, have a like a connection of some sort?
Well, we were asked this question last night too.
Yeah.
Me knowing that I saw it, I've got a 17.5-inch crack, and 7 feet away, I have the ball of another one. And when you put them together, they're the same depth, and it shows that it was the same creature, but yet it was gone. And there's nothing else. No trees moved, no noise, no nothing. The 2 people that came up the trail that this thing was moving in never even saw it.
You got to back up a little bit. That was we used to work
Right,
back in the
well-
day for the BFRO, and we used to do expeditions for them. And this was on
Okay.
an expedition. So
Yes.
this isn't something that we just saw by ourselves.
Oh, no.
We had multiple witnesses on
Okay.
the majority of our stories.
yes.
We have multiple witnesses because we were on expeditions, we were outings, we were different things with
Yeah,
different
yeah.
people.
At least 10 to 12 people at
Oh, yeah.
least can verify all of them.
Yeah, so
'Cause
there's
they're all
definitely
there.
witnesses. So it's not just
Yeah.
a story.
Yeah.
They're all back.
Yeah, when I had seen mine, we camped here at the camp. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. We camped at the camp. It rained for 4 days. We went out on Thursday. Friday night we came, and about 1:00 in the morning, it was like a little misty rain. We had the the single FLIRs at the time. I was standing with a gentleman. I gave his son standing with a gentleman who's a scientist from Pfizer, and his son was looking through the FLIR at a mouse running
Okay.
around this tree. 40 yards away, 60 yards away, there's nothing there. It's an open lot.
An open field.
And there's this orange yellowish ball about the size of a beach ball, about 35 feet off the ground. And it's just sitting there. It's not emitting light, it's holding the light. And I looked over at him, he looks at me, and we're not saying anything. We're just looking at this, and we just watched it just go gone. And we never said a word to each other.
Yeah.
So the next day, we go out and we go to Savoy State Forest. We went to one spot, and it was raining harder. No one wanted to get out and go in. So the guy that we were with says, I got one more spot to go to. So we drove over there. We got out. It was still raining a little bit, but most of us got out. Some didn't. They stayed back. So we're walking in. As we're walking in, we're in a group of about 12. as we're walking in, there was a guy and his son, and he had the GoPro. So they went up in front of us. They were like, I don't know, 60 yards, 70 yards in front of us.
Right.
There's two guys that like to stay behind to watch the group to see if the group is being watched. So those two fell behind. So we're in the middle. There's about 8 or 9 of us. And we're meandering through the dirt road. We get up to Balance Rock and we're standing there. Now, at this time, the guy and his son are up in the woods. The other two are still behind us. So we asked if anybody wanted to make a Bigfoot call. And this 10-year-old boy says, yeah, I will. We said, okay. It was funny because I was standing there and he made the call and I was saying to myself, never going to hear it. It was I thought it was just so soft. But he no sooner made that call, and it wasn't even a minute later. And the two guys that were behind us come running up and says, hey, we got whistles back here. At the exact same time, the guy in the front with the GoPro sent his son back, and they were having clacking up in front.
Wow.
So we kind of walked into the woods, and we spread out in like a 45. And I'm wearing an orange rain jacket, so I stuck out. Everybody else was in blue, brown, black, all the dark colors. So I'm on this little rock, and I'm just standing there listening because it was so quiet. And as I'm looking around, I'm a hunter, so I knew I wasn't going to see anything standing up. So I put my hands on my knees and I bent down, crouch, and see if I could see leg movement. And all of a sudden, I said, "What is that?" I said, "That wasn't there." So I stood up. When I stood up, I saw this big black thing standing there. And I went, what is that? So I leaned to my left like I was looking around the corner, trying to get a better look. No, it was crazy, but I did. And this thing leaned with me. And I went, what? And when I stood up, it stood up. And then it turned. And when it turned, it was like I was, and when it turned, it didn't even turn all the way. But when it turned, I was looking at something that was as wide as a sheet of plywood.
Oh my gosh.
I saw the conical head come down to where the shoulders were, and I only down to the waist because there was a tree laying in front of me. And I went, what? So I point at it, and of course I start running towards it.
This is what you can see in the GoPro. You can see him.
There's another guy to the left of me.
Yeah.
And he's pointing, and he comes in. There's a guy in between us. There's a guy with a GoPro, and we come into the exact same frame at the same time, pointing in the same direction. And you say, why don't you get a picture of Bigfoot? Because this guy was standing right smack dab in front of a tree. And this thing was behind that tree.
Right.
But we ran right at it. And when we got there, I mean, we're talking seconds. This thing was gone. And we're looking. We can't find anything.
Dozen people started walking.
Yeah, we're looking around. There's nothing going on. Tim's teaching a fishing class for the state. This is the first time that him and I aren't together looking for Bigfoot. I says, oh my God, he's never going to believe this. He's going to kill me. So we come back and I said, as soon as this expedition is over, we're getting out there into the woods. You got to see this. So we drive all the way back the next day. We get out there. I take him out to the rock. I'm standing on the rock. I tell him the whole story. I said, walk over to that tree. So he walks over to the tree. I pull out my rangefinder. He's 40 yards away.
Do the whole measurement thing.
He takes his hand. He goes up. He puts the hat up. He had to get a stick and go up higher. I told him to stop. I went down there and we measured it. It was almost 9 feet tall. So what I saw was almost 9 feet tall, 4 feet, if not bigger, wide. And we left two tracks. I'm on one side of the tree that's laying down. Tim's on the other. I said, I'll meet you on the other side. So he comes walking along the tree and he stops. I come walking along the tree and I said, what are you doing? He says, you're not going to believe it. Look at this. I will walk over and there's a track, 17 and a half inches long, 8.5 inches wide.
Clear as a bell.
And about 4 inches deep.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. One solid good track. 7 feet away. The ball of the foot is basically a heel strike. The first track was a heel strike, push off,
So you
It's
knew
kind
it
of
ran.
being the ball of a foot.
You knew it ran because it was that distance, and it was just a ball, and there was a root that was going across, and you could
Yeah.
see where the toes
Yeah.
scraped the root and it pulled the bark off.
Wow.
But you can't. I tried to cast that, but you can't cast that. But I did get the depth of the ball itself, and that was a miracle because we never get two up here. We're lucky
Yeah.
to get one, and here
Or
it was.
cast anyway.
Here it is with a cast. It was
So
crazy.
the
But-
little blob we took of a cast was really just to represent how deep it was.
Well, we saw those. Now, I had the rangefinder, I had all that other stuff, but we didn't have anything to make the cast with. So I says, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" So I says, "Wait a minute, I'm going to make a phone call." Well, I called the guy that saw the bottom half move. I called John. I said, "You got to come out here," because he had all the casting material in his vehicle. I said, "You got to come out." He goes, "Well, I'm headed to a ball game, and over in Boston." And I said, "Oh no, I'm standing here looking at this track." I said, "It's for real." So he turns around, comes all the way back, about a 2-hour ride. He comes all the way back. We meet him out on the dirt road. We get in the truck. We're driving in. We didn't go down that road 30 yards. And all of a sudden, from the top of the hill, we heard this loud roar, grunt, yell, just like New York. That's what it reminded the two of us of as soon as we heard it.
Yeah.
In other words, they were telling them that we were coming back and we should get out of there. But naturally, we just kept going.
And these are local woods that
Yeah.
we grew up in, stuff like that.
Yeah,
This
they're-
noise doesn't exist in these woods, and there it was up there roaring
The
again. at us.
exact same noise. It was crazy.
Wow.
So we had gone in and we'd made the cast. And while we were making the big one, that's when we saw the next one 7 feet away. And that's where we had just enough to make that cast. And we made it with dental stone. I mean, this stuff is, the dentists use it, and this stuff is hard. So,
Yeah.
and it picks up very good detail. So it's a big one. So I do have two.
We have
And
a half
this is the
dozen
same
cats
place where we
overall.
got the little, this is the same place we got the juvenile tracks from years later.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's
it is-
definitely some family action or a tribe out there in that area. Then there has to be.
Yeah, there's a history
Seeing
of it.
juvenile and adult.
But I believe that we had three. I believe that the one that was whistling that they heard behind us and they heard the clacking up in front, that was the two. And the one in the middle is the one that got caught. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know which way to go. And I just happened to be looking in that direction. Yeah.
Well, I find it interesting how he mimicked you. Like you turned, he kind of turned, whatever, It's kind of interesting that they do. I've heard other people's experiences where they like the juniors like to watch children play. They I've heard that this one gentleman I had on, he talked about his first experience, and he was in a school play yard. He was younger. He was a young, I think he was like 12 years old, if I remember correctly. And he said that he could see a mommy, a daddy, and a junior. And the junior was just sitting there watching them play, his friends play. And he couldn't move. He was like, what in the world? Because he's a little kid, and he's like, what is this big hairy thing? He didn't realize. And one of them actually ran up on him, didn't touch him, but it was an experience that he will never, ever forget. He actually wrote a book about it, his experience. But
Two young kids, they're trying to figure each other out. Oh, yeah. I can see that happening.
Yeah. I just found it interesting. And I always like to ask my guests that are really into cryptids if you guys find a connection, because I did have another guest on when I was just doing Audible before my podcast went live on YouTube, and he was sharing some photos. And that's why I like live YouTube, because then I can share people's photos or videos, if they choose to let me share. On Audible, when I was doing Audible podcasts, I couldn't do that, and it's like we just talked about it. But he sent me pictures, and it was his neighbor's house. And he called his friend Chadwick. He's like, hey, I need you to come out here now. I'm seeing some weird stuff going on. I saw a dog man in my backyard even, because this guy definitely lived in the woods, like tree lines galore, you know? Yeah. And so Chadwick was sharing his photos with me, and this is his neighbor. And you can see a junior Bigfoot in the foot of the woods, you know, or where the woods were getting ready to, you know, you can either go to the left and be in the woods or go in the yard. And all of a sudden, and this guy that was his house, he was taking photos, you know, when you just click to take, you know, just take them really fast. And he had a cell phone. And next thing you know, the junior Bigfoot he was taking photos of all of a sudden turned into a green orb and started floating around the tree line to the back of the house, and then poof, disappeared. And I was in awe. I was in awe when I saw that. All the photos.
I think the two are connected.
Yeah, as much as everybody would like to say it's flesh and blood, and I'm of that camp. I believe, you know, these things are leaving tracks, and we see these things and we see a flesh and blood object. But on the other hand, it can disappear relatively quick and only leave a handful of tracks. There's something to that. There should be something more as in physical evidence.
We've had two incidences where we've seen Bigfoot, but we've seen orbs. 12 people watched the Bigfoot through a FLIR, had that distinct odor, and then watched their own orb.
Yeah, so him and Eric Eric had his in 2016, where he saw it with an orb. And then in 2018, we're in October Mountain State Forest. It's another expedition. There's a dozen people there.
If you Google October Mountain State Forest in Massachusetts, you'll come up with all kinds of paranormal and UFO sightings and everything.
Yeah, it's another place that has
very active area.
And it's October what? Sorry, say it again.
October Mountain
State Forest.
There it is. Oh, and that popped up right away.
Yeah. It's a very active place.
Really?
We went there because we had recent reports and things like that. We figured that was going to be the most promising for results. And it turned out to be pretty good. So we get up there, it's midnight or so, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Still, it had drizzle rain.
Yeah.
Every time we've had an encounter with Bigfoot, it's been drizzling rain.
Yeah. It has been raining.
Really?
And there's been water involved in some fashion, near a pond. This happened to be near Felton Pond in October Mountain State Forest. So we're on one side of the pond. This is happening on the other. There's a dozen people congregated on one side of the pond, and we're sitting there both having talks and whatnot, and starting to break out our gear, start to explore the area with night vision and FLIRs. And one of our buddies, Chuck, comes out and says, "Hey, do you smell that?" And sure enough, then we started to notice this odor.
And that was the first time that we've ever had an odor smell.
Yeah, it was,
out of all the encounters that we believe we've had, that was the first time we've ever smelled it.
Yeah. And it wasn't real, death and
odor.
It was
more of a musky smell. That's what I smelled.
Yeah, more like wet animal hide kind of thing. Very rank in that regard.
But it just lingered for a very short while.
Yeah. While it was there, we could smell it.
Yeah.
And so anyways, now we're smelling something almost simultaneously. One of the guys with the FLIR say, "Hey, do you see that over there?" And there's a half a dozen FLIRs looking at something across the pond that is pacing back and forth. Literally, we call this thing the pacing Bigfoot, because it went back and forth several times in various lengths, back to a starting point and back. And it did that 3 or 4 times. And then no sounds, no nothing, just pacing and this odor. And then all of a sudden, it drops off and disappears into the woods, and it's done. We're all done. So we figure we're all done. The smell disappears. So that was gone. And we figured we were done for the night. We were going to put up our gear and we were leaving. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, at this what sort of like a peninsula on the end of the pond, there's these pine trees that are white pine, and they're 100 feet tall. And 50 feet up on this white pine at 1 o'clock in the morning or so, this brilliant crystal blue orb pops on, just like you flip the light on in the middle of the woods, and there's this beach ball sized crystal blue orb.
And remember, 12 people are standing here watching this happen.
Yeah. And it's just, now it's on, and all of a sudden it goes up the tree, never goes around a branch, just goes up the tree, straight up to the very top, never emitting light, like a flashlight, but just this crystal ball. And it was highly visible, like it was illuminated. And so it goes to the top of the tree, and then 4 seconds, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, poof, gone. And it was gone, just as simple, just as quick as it appeared.
But there was twice that we've had Bigfoot activity, and twice we've had orbs.
Yeah, I mean, and in October Mountain, literally the Bigfoot. So now it's the next day. We go back and we're doing our follow-up investigation, and we looking for tracks, looking for the other evidence and whatnot, because we have the visuals. We got some stuff on FLIR,
and we always go back. Always.
So we're going back and looking for the physical evidence of this pacing. We go back and we find a half a dozen tracks. It's tall grass.
Well, wait. With the pacing was because there was a 90-foot ash tree laying on the ground. That's how we knew it was pacing.
Yeah, it was on top of a log, and it was pacing back and forth. And that's so we didn't really get anything from that. But off of the log where it disappeared, we found a couple of steps. And then we followed it into the woods, and we found some more steps. And we followed it some more, and then we found a couple more steps. In all, we found about 6 steps. We cast 2, and we used 1.
Yeah,
actually, we cast 3.
The ones that went through the straw grass, it was just almost impossible to cast.
Yeah.
You knew it went through it because it flattened it, but that was it.
Yeah, it wasn't something.
Yeah,
we're not going to post anything you need red circles to identify. No, it just ain't going to happen. If it's not clear and you can't see it, we ain't gonna post it.
Simple. Gotcha.
And this was very, I mean, it had a foot shape to it, but it wasn't identifiable. And the one track that we did get, that was nice.
The last track.
Yeah, it was our last, and we weren't even going to cast it, but we did. And we sent it off to Dr. Meldrum before he passed, and didn't give him any insight onto the story. Just say, hey, Doc, here's the cast. Tell us what you think. And he gave us a big thumbs up and said, hey, guys, out of all, this is a really good one. This is nice. And then we had another one from Felton Pond that we sent off to Dr. Meldrum. And he gave us a thumbs up on that one as well.
Yeah, so it just shows that area is very busy.
Yeah.
And to have the cast there was out of the 6, the last print was the best one.
Really?
So it worked out good. But then it stepped away, and that's when we saw the blue light.
Wow.
That's when we saw the light.
That's when we saw the light.
That's where we saw the light.
12 people stood there.
Yeah, it was a trip.
12 people are watching this happen, and they're going, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, so we have all this Bigfootery thing happening, and it disappears. And then this bright light shows up. We go back the following day, and we get casts that are looking like this. You know?
Wow.
17.5 inches long, almost 8 inches wide.
That's what it looks like on the ground.
Well, and look at that big toe. That big toe is huge.
This is one of the ones that we got in. This is Felton Pond in October Mountain.
Okay.
We have a couple from October Mountain. This one happens to be
the pressure that came off of this print. There's a rock that comes with this. There's an indentation right here.
Yeah.
This rock right here, and it's pretty thick.
Yeah.
That rock fits in that indentation.
Oh.
So when it dried, we pulled the cast. The rock came with it.
The rock came with the cast. That's how much pressure was put on that when it was put in there.
This one here,
unbelievable.
We were with Richie Baralt and Wojo, Steve Wojo. I'm going to kill his name, but anyway, we call him Wojo because he's got this strong Polish name with a bunch of consonants for letters and stuff. It's one of them names, but he's a great guy. Anyway, So, anyways, we were with Richie and Wojo, and we were up there and do some investigating, and we came across that track as well. So October Mountain,
that was right. Yeah, then
certainly has a history. And to get to your question, with the woo or the paranormal, is there a connection?
there is.
I believe it shouldn't be ignored, and there's too many people that have had similar experiences to blow it off. To have this, to be one-sided, and that train of thought shuts down your research, and it's no longer research. It's this in that mind, and it's clearly not that, because we've through our library talks, it has been so beneficial in learning more about Bigfoot. The different people, have different experiences that explain it differently, and what they are seeing, different things. Some of the stuff is wild, shimmering, cloaking.
We did the best, the one that gave us the best information and to know that we're on the right path was when we did our Dalton library. It was standing room only. After we had given our talk, this gentleman came up to us.
He's a documentary maker.
Yes, he's a documentary maker. He spent like 45 years in Colorado with these 5 guys, going through their story and everything else, and he documenting it. He came up to us and he says,
Terry Holland.
Terry Holland. He says, if I had known about you two, he says, I wouldn't have had to have spent 4 years in Colorado going back and forth.
This guy lives in Pittsfield, and October Mountain is the watershed for Pittsfield.
So he says, you got to come back next month. I'm going to be doing a film documentary. So he invited us back. So we went back. Tim and I are sitting in the back, and we're listening to these 5 gentlemen from Colorado, out in Colorado.
Yeah, we're watching his documentary.
This one gentleman's telling his story, and I turned my head and I looked at Tim, and it was almost like he was telling my story.
Yeah,
that's how identical. Wow. That's why he turned around. He says, I can't believe that the similarities are so close together, that far apart.
Yes. And it's interesting to your gentlemen is because the reason why I brought up, have you guys seen orbs or do you believe there's a connection, is because, well, for me personally, and I'm going to speak on myself, I'm a very open-minded person. And I always say that you guys, like even the people that are boots on the ground, you guys have your theories, you guys have your own experiences, but we should never just cut somebody off and say, no, that's not true. Or no, they don't turn into orbs, or no, they don't cloak. How do you know? I've had some people say that to me, they don't cloak. But have you seen it? Why be so close-minded? Because we really don't know. And that's the thing, is we got to keep it open. So that way, when people are out there like you guys, like Donna, Rachel does paranormal. Rachel, I don't think you've had a Bigfoot experience yet, have you? When you're out in your woods?
I've found a track and I've heard them off in the distance. I haven't seen one. Definitely not up close. Do you guys think maybe that they're dimensional, or it can hop between dimensions, and that's how they disappear so quick?
I think that's very, very possible.
Yeah, in his world, he believes that they can get all freaked out and take that moment, that oh shit moment where they've been busted, and they take that energy and say, and orb out and just kind of flash into whatever dimension they're going to. And that's why he only got 2 tracks. Why didn't we get more tracks?
Really,
it's out there, but
when you can say that you're standing there looking at something 9 feet tall, 4 feet wide, it's got to be 800 pounds, if not heavier. Yeah. And it's there, and then it's not there. Where did it go?
Yeah,
I think that it's
there would have been more tracks. If he ran off, he would have broken branches and left more foot tracks, which you only had the 2 tracks that where he was at.
And there were no trees. None of the sapling trees moved. There was no noise. Everybody says it was a bear. Well, a bear would make a huffing sound when it hit the ground.
Oh yeah.
It didn't do that. It didn't move trees. There was nothing. It was there, and it was gone.
Yeah, physical. You
And
there would
I
have been
do
a
believe
physical evidence for the
Yep.
physical results that would have happened. And
I
it was
do
neither,
believe that
except for two
when they
tracks.
get caught, they have the powers to just say, I'm out of here. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it didn't just walk away, because if it did, I would have seen it and I would have had more tracks. So
I
it
picked
had
on him,
to.
but I'm kind
It
of
had
getting
to
into
do
this
it.
camp.
I mean, I saw it happen. So it was
Yeah.
there.
Ronnie,
crazy.
Marcus, you
Ronnie
have something
LeBlanc.
to say? Sorry.
Oh,
Ronnie
I was
LeBlanc
just
has,
saying, you would hear it.
You
Like,
would,
if it's running, like if it just starts to take off, I'm sure you would hear like
yeah.
Exactly.
pounding of them, because they're probably heavy as hell.
Wow,
Probably, like
yeah.
you said, 800 to 1,000 pounds. I think a full
Right.
grown would be at least 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. Especially
And
9
in the
feet
direction
tall.
that thing ran, there were two
Yeah.
people coming through the woods that it never passed.
Oh,
It-
okay.
never
Oh,
even saw.
see?
Yeah.
And
See,
it was,
then
it was,
Hobbs, can you explain that?
Yeah.
He probably did his little poof.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he gone.
Just
So,
like-
I mean, it sounds funny and it sounds bizarre and it sounds weird, but if you shut that theory down, then it shuts down the possibility. Where did those tracks go? Why aren't they there? It
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
to me there
Where-
should be more.
Where did that 4 foot wide thing just go to? You know?
Yeah.
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 I was going to say Ronnie LeBlanc has a book out called Interdimensional, and I've
Okay.
seen his talks and know him, and he seems to have a pretty wild handle on this as far as the interdimensional aspect of it.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a few books on that, and maybe that would be helpful for some people that are in that camp in the interdimensional. I believe that there's something there. I believe it's something more than just Bigfoot now as a flesh and blood creature. I think I'm still not that far off the camp. I'm not going that far off, but I there's something out there. What it is, I don't know. And to me, that's the research aspect. What is that? When people are telling me, I watched this thing jump from a tree, land 15 feet in front of me and cross a trail. As it crossed the trail, it went from an object to shimmering like water, and crossed the trail in front of them.
And watched it part bushes and
Watched
everything.
the Mount Laurel part, and then it just disappeared into the woods.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we've had, since we've been doing library talks, we have had a lot of that.
One story
Really?
is kind of out there. 2 stories is coincidental. We've had 5 or 6 stories about shimmering.
Yeah.
And
See?
that
Yeah.
goes right into this potential interdimensional thing where light frequency, we see certain light frequency. We hear certain frequencies.
Right.
There could be frequencies that they're operating in that we're not
much higher than
aware
ours.
of.
I
Or
mean,
we're not picking up,
Right.
and
Well,
they move
and
around
my thing
freely.
is, and my important thing is, because my podcast is a judgment-free zone. I will not allow people to be negative on my show or put other people down. And so that's why when I have my guests on, I like to ask certain questions, and I love your guys' hearing your experiences and everything. But I just was very curious on how you guys felt about that, because there are different theories. People have had different experiences, but as much, I mean, I haven't been boots on the ground, but as many guests as I have had on talking about Bigfoot or other cryptids, especially Bigfoot and paranormal being connected in some way, shape, or form, and them being able to kind of like do the predator move is what I call it. But what I want to get out there is that, again, we all need to stay open-minded. There's theories, everybody's theories, but we should never shut anyone down. You know what I mean? Not saying that you guys are. I'm just trying to get that message out there to others that we should not be shutting each other down and saying, no,
We
it's
could be
not
sharing
that. Or no,
information.
Yeah.
You can't. I couldn't do that either. And I've had some people tell me some wild stories. But, having my own experience, how can I say you're not telling me the truth?
And we just saw Bigfoot. Yeah.
I mean, when I can say I saw it, and you're telling me some other story, how can I deny that? Just because I'm not there doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Absolutely.
So yes, you have to be very open-minded on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I had one lady talk to us after a show on the one of the library talks we had done, and she lived out in the Coven Reservoir area, which is another area in Massachusetts that has a high number of Bigfoot, UFO kind of stuff like that. And but so anyway, she's in there on a day hike, and I put out a thing, hey, if you've seen this, the critters, the Bigfoot and mountain lion, and I posted on the websites, and if you've seen it, you go to the thing and you fill out the form, and she filled out the form, and I ended up calling, and she ended up calling me and talking to me, and then sent me a picture of what she saw, and it was fairies. Fairies. That's what she saw. Yeah. Fairies.
I love it.
It blew me away when she came out with those words. She says, I want to talk to you about fairies. I'm like, okay, sure. And then she started to, she had been walking down this trail away from the pond, away from the lake. She was walking back to her car. And coming down the trail, she saw 6 white translucent type like fairies that looked like Tinkerbell, she said, go right past her and right into the lake, and it transitioned without a splash. It just blooped right through the water, and she said it went down 15, 20 feet into the water before she couldn't see it anymore. It was a half a dozen of them. And these things were coming down the trail, flying down the trail, right past her like she wasn't there. And, so you get stories like that, and what do you do? You just chalk it off and say, well, hey, I got a story. You don't tell her she's crazy.
Yeah. Have you guys met or seen or been in the community? Brian Sawyer, he is Bigfoots of Michigan. Yeah. And he has a fairy story. He actually experienced a fairy, and he did describe the fairy as kind of a pale color, pale white and everything. Well, and then he said to the fairy, what did he say? What was it, Donna? He says, you do know I can see you. And she went, and then she went into an electrical, a plug or whatever, an outlet, and disappeared. So that's amazing. Here's another fairy story. See, I find that so fascinating. I love it.
Right. So you hear one. So you hear one and you think you're all set, and it's a one of, and then you hear 2 and it's a coincidence. And then all of a sudden your brother calls you up and says, dude, you're not going to believe this.
He's laughing.
And he calls me up and he says, I think I just saw, we saw a fairy. And
I was sitting in the backyard.
And I hadn't told him about.
I didn't even know
anything. Yeah. I took this report. He had no idea. No, I hadn't told him about it yet. So now this is a couple days later, and he's coming and telling me.
I'm sitting in the chair
in his backyard,
and my wife had a chicken at the time, and I'm watching the chicken just kind of meander around. My wife's
name was Lunch.
Yeah, and my wife is standing on the deck, and all of a sudden I turn my head and I see this thing come under the fence, and I said, "What in the world is that?" And it was white. I thought it was a moth, and it kept flying, and I says, you know how when the wings kind of open up, you can see the center?
Yeah.
I looked at that, and my wife's looking down off of the deck, and she goes, she goes, that's Tinkerbell. She'll never admit that she saw it, but even the chicken, I thought the chicken was going to eat it. And it just kind of looked at it, and as it went by.
Chicken knew better.
And it was like 10 seconds, and we watched this thing come underneath and just go across the yard and gone.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I said, Tim, you're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah. And I had just taken a story a couple days earlier of a fairy account. I mean, so what are the odds? There's stuff out there that we just don't know about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there'll be people I just did a talk with some folks that were from the South, and they didn't think that, let's go into the eating component of Bigfoot. What do they eat? How do they eat? And a lot of people, this is where the discussion was going. A lot of people are on the side, well, hey, they got to eat deer and chase down turkeys and eat all this meat and protein, and they're big and they're critters and they're huge. Well, that's true. If they're a big flesh-eating thing, then it's probably going to consume a lot of stuff, and that's a given. When you humanize things, that's a given. When you humanize things, doesn't mean it's a natural thing. It just means that's how we think. That something that big is going to need that much to carry itself. So what I do is I go back and, we've been guiding in New England forever. And I will tell you that a moose, our local moose, our largest land mammal, will go 1,200 pounds, grow a rack every year, lose that rack every year. And all it does is eat bark, buds, and some aquatic
Swamp
plants.
grass. Yep.
That's about it. They don't chase turkeys and wild animals, and they don't eat nothing other than that. They eat wild grasses, buds, and things like that. Bark in the winter, tough. And that's the extent of their diet. So if we can produce a known living animal at a 1,200 pound, 800 pound body weight, and will sustain it in let's call it a New England winter, all right, a cold New England winter like we had this year, where we had multiple weeks below zero, multiple days, multiple weeks below with the wind and everything.
But they're only eating bark and bud.
Yeah. So they're they carry on, they dig a little bit if they get to the grasses and stuff, but they're nibbling. That's what they're doing. They're nibbling along the tree line, the path line.
Bigfoot doesn't have to do that. I believe it. I believe it'll eat whatever's available.
Yeah.
I think that their accuracy with a rock is dead on. If they wanted to get it, they could toss that rock. We've had rocks thrown at us.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to hit us with it, there's no doubt in my mind that we wouldn't have been a target. Yeah. So I don't think they have to chase it down. I really don't.
But that's where we had differed.
They might, but I don't think they do.
Where they said they have to eat all this meat and stuff like that. And then I just brought up the topic of look at our moose and how it survives and what it does. And it simply, I can prove it with a moose that you don't need to chase down deer. Now, what is the dietary need of a Bigfoot? I don't know. And I don't think anybody out there could tell me. But if we bring it down to that's my
Is
cat.
that a cat? The cat wants to be part of the show.
Yeah, it's a black cat too. There's a box on the table with Cass, so obviously he's got to go. So anyways, that's kind of a typical blurry thing. So anyways, that's where we're at with the whole feeding and the Bigfoot thing. When we had that discussion, there was more of a notion that it had to eat this way and consume these animals. And I beg to differ. I thought that, we have these animals that do this. Our bears typically hibernate in the winter. They will get up on a warm winter's day. If we have a mild winter, they'll get up and walk around. They don't typically, they'll go down if it's really hard, cold, they'll go down and stay down for weeks, maybe a month or so. They'll have their babies while they're in hibernative state and then wake up and they've got kids, and they're nursing to a family. Whereas, on these mild winters, they can den up and come out and walk around. And if there's still food available, there's food available. They're not going to necessarily need to shut down because the food is available.
Right.
They shut down because the availability of food and that.
And we don't see many bear tracks during the winter.
No.
So that means that the bears are denning down. We don't see many Bigfoot tracks in the winter either.
And you can go online and go to all the different groups.
So, I think they do bed down or
averages on what we've seen over our years of investigating is from spring till snow flies is when we get our most reports. So in the spring until it gets cold and then it dies down.
Spring and fall really give us our best because that's planting season and picking season.
Yeah, we feel they follow the natural harvest.
Yeah.
There's numerous, not just the fiddleheads and the things that everybody's walking around picking and eating, which are most likely on the diet, but there's acorns, there's berries, there's blueberries, and there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
And just
Right.
like you walk into your grocery store, they know where they need to go for their they know where to go for their berries and their water and all their things, you know. What'd you get her?
Mm.
Come here, buddy. There you go.
That's
Wyatt.
too funny.
Mm.
Oh yeah, she's a mouthy little.
Mm.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experiences. You guys are great. I absolutely just loved you guys.
Thanks for
You guys
having
are
us.
just-
We had a good time.
Oh,
And we
it's-
like
it's
getting
been
the
a great-
information out, and that's what you're doing is pushing the information. So that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and I
Donna and I finally get to see each other. You know,
Yes,
usually everything is a text message.
we've been talking
Um,
forever. He's my go-to guy.
Thank you, Art.
Mm.
Thank you, Art of Victor. So, Art of Victor mentioned that I totally believe in keeping an open mind. I moved to San Bernardino Mountains in Cali, and we've been having some interesting stuff. So, Art, Marcus and I, we're in California as well. So maybe we should make a trip up there, babe.
I mean, is he talking about Bigfoot?
Are you talking about Big
It's
Bear,
probably
Art,
Big
Victor?
Bear. It's probably Big Bear.
Yeah, because Big Bear I know that Big Bear,
They've had sightings. Up
they've
there.
had sightings
Yeah.
up there. And I told
I've
Marcus,
been
I'm like,
camping up there in Big Bear. Yeah, there's a tower up there. We went up to this tower, and we ended up having wolves that night camping up on the Pacific Crest Trail. We weren't looking for Bigfoot. We were just off on a camping trip. There's a whole nother story, but
yeah.
I used to work at a school, and they sent me off to
Like
California to do motocross school in Colton, California. So they sent me to Team Honda motocross camp to teach youth how to ride. It's a different
Oh my
life.
gosh.
So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we were out in San Bernardino, big mountains. I'm drawing a blank on the one mountain near. There's a tower on it, Tower Mountain, whatever it is. But anyways, there's two guys backpacking, long hair hippie guy, ponytail and all this stuff, and we're out there backpacking, and we saw a group up there, and we just kind of blew it off, and we're hiking our trail. Now it's noon, or rather it's dinner time, and now we hear this large group coming down the trail, and I'm like, dude, they are way off. They're dressed in t-shirts and flannels, and it's getting dark in the mountains, and they took the wrong trail. They think they're heading back to their car, and they are going deep into California. They're not coming.
No.
So I see this as an educator. I'm looking at this group, and they just made the wrong choice. They went the
So
wrong
know
way.
your trails when you go there.
And so now this long-haired hippie guy has to come up to this strange group and say, hey, you're going the wrong way. Can I take you to your car? Literally. And they're like, what? And I said, okay, look it. You remember climbing up the mountain when you looked down, you could see the parking lot in Big Bear and the recreation center? Yeah. I said, do you see it now? No. Well, there you go. That's the only evidence I have for you. I break out the map and I show them, here's where you need to be. I finally convinced them, and they literally, we convinced them, and we walked them all the way back to the top of the mountain where they could see, and that's where they breathed some sigh of relief that they weren't being kidnapped or something like that. And they could see their car in the parking lot, and it's like, hey, these two dudes just walked us way back. We were lost. They were completely lost. And I just knew, wow.
That's
They had
scary.
they had a
people-
plastic jug of licorice to eat between like 10.
Remember what we said about the 10 essentials?
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
go
forget
out
the
without it.
licorice.
You bring the licorice with you.
Yeah.
Pack your pack, yes.
Funny. Well, gentlemen, again, though, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's been fun. I would love to have you guys back on if you're interested.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
love to hear more experiences, as I'm sure you've got plenty
We do.
more.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we do.
we'll schedule that. I would love to hear more. I think you guys are fascinating. And it's great to have people that are not familiar or who might be just learning or experienced and hearing your guys' experiences. So I think it's great. But if anyone wants to reach out to you guys, how can people reach out to you?
Get us through the Facebook on the Vogel Brothers.
Yeah. Facebook, Vogel Brothers, the Cobble Mountain Critter Project. And, you can go to the website, cobblemountaincritterproject.org. You can get there as well.
Yep.
And that's where you'll see us. We have a
Catch
schedule.
me on Instagram when I can get it going.
Yeah, we have some of a quasi schedule up to about June of places that we've been invited to go and speak and whatnot. But typically we're just in the woods doing our own thing. That it's now past mud season and we're spending a lot more time in the woods.
Yeah, our best area's finally open. The mud's finally dried up.
Yeah.
And you guys have this coming up? Are you a part of this ECBRO?
One of the places we were heading down there, but a medical issue came up and we have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we're not going to make that.
But that was one of the that was going to start our weekend.
Yeah, that was just a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were headed there.
That was one of them.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, hold on. Let me get this out of there. There we go. All right. Awesome. Well, I also have your guys' information as well in the description of the YouTube description, so people can also go in there and take a look. Rachel, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what are your handles?
I'm on Facebook is Rachel Jones. TikTok and Instagram, Hexes and Hollers. Snapchat, Shadows of WNC 13. And email is paints.hexesandhollers@gmail.com. And of course, I'm always on here Sunday evenings. And I think that's it.
I know you've established quite a bit. It's awesome.
Wow.
And then Marcus, how can people find you?
Instagram, Palmer's Precision Products LLC, metal manufacturer for starting to get involved with like paranormal stuff. So I'm going to start engineering and designing some new cutting edge technology to bring out on the field. And then on top of that, coming to Curiosities every Sunday. And then every other Wednesday, the Haunted and Hunted Case Files. And then the last one is Federal Paranormal Investigators. That is our investigation team.
Yeah.
And, we're excited to start bringing some of the footage that we got and just being out in the field, and we're going to start getting those videos posted as soon as possible. So,
yeah.
But that's where you can find me.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then Donna, the hostess of the Mostess, how can we find you?
Oh, well, here with you, of course, and then Monsters Unleashed on Saturday night, Strange Knocks Magazine, and then it's Donna Copas at Watchers Maidens on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, numerous podcasts around the world. I'm here, there, and yonder, so you find me somewhere.
That is true. Yes, you're a very busy woman, very popular.
And the best place of all, out in the woods. That's my favorite place of all. Back in the woods.
I tell you, she has some great encounters.
Oh yeah. Well, and this is the thing. I met Donna way back when I had my Audible podcast, and actually, was it when I had Coven of Curiosities? Because I had a previous podcast called Anything and Everything, and then I decided to revamp it all and make it Coven of Curiosities. And I had her on as a guest, and I just was like, oh my gosh, I got to keep in contact with you. And her and I had such a connection. And so we kept in contact and everything. And I was like, hey, do you want to be a guest co-host? And she's like, yeah, I would love to. And I'm like, would you like to be a co-host? She's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, how about a host? Would you like to host with me? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, yes. So yeah,
Great.
yes, I love it. And now she's my big sister.
Good deal.
Yes. As we all know, that Coven of Curiosities is a judgment-free zone. When joining the Coven, your stories and experiences will be heard because they matter and they are valued. Please rate, follow, like, share, and subscribe, for it's time to join the Coven and unveil the mysteries of the unknown. If you would like to be a guest, you can reach out to me, your little host, Cindy, aka Giggles, at covenofcuriositypod@gmail.com. You can also reach me on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, TikTok, and then on YouTube. It's pretty much easy. It's in the description of the YouTube, so you can check it out there, how you can find me, or you can just shoot me an email. You will also find me also on Hunted and Hunted Case Files every other Wednesday, and then of course Monsters Unleashed on Saturdays, and then of course here, and then I also do Thursdays, Grandpa's Old Hate Tales with Robert Effler from the North Carolina Investigates. So check us out. It's really good stories that we've got. I actually shared one of my personal own short stories last Thursday. So if you missed it, go check it out and tell me what you think. All right, guys, you guys have an amazing day. Remember to embrace the Coven, be curious, and explore the eerie while discovering the dark world with the Coven. Have a good one, all.
Thank you.
I'm frozen.